The introspection expressed in this journal is not affiliated with nor reflects the views of any public or private entities. Let's embark on this audio adventure together. Please enjoy.
Okay. I will be back here. Sorry.
Rising to the call, I'll give my life and all. Good news, everyone.
The things I do for love. Who the hell cares?
You are watching a master work.
Yo, yo, yo. Hello, what's good? How you doing? Welcome to Sianeselects. Word of the day. Kleptocracy. Now, a society or system ruled by people who use their power to steal their country's resources. Mass now. Government by people who use their power to steal their country's resources. Thank you, Oxford Dictionary. Normalcy has always been considered strange around people I came up with. There always had to be an edge to somewhere or an X factor, and for me, I couldn't understand why people felt the need to call somebody weird because they liked something that may have not been appealing to a crowd.
Acceptable.
I distance myself from people who diss other people for being themselves.
You're the best.
You know, once the drugs started getting into me, I ain't gonna hold you, I started becoming like what I was around. And it kind of pissed me off. Shit, I was corny in school. I'm still lame now. You know, it's funny because life has nearly reverted back to disagreeing being considered warfare. People losing their jobs, social relevancy, damn near their minds defending themselves against a mob mentality. The type of behavior is turning some to mimes, others clowns, and most copycats. Losing your voice is something I don't wish on you or anyone.
Thank you.
Whether they're sick or even digitally. Especially if they have something insightful to say or just not entirely keen on filtering themselves. Except for racists or classists. They should obviously be shut the fuck down. Now, again, I'm from Jersey. I spent a fair amount of time living in the southeastern part of America where it's known to be brutal for their ethics towards minorities. My experience with that was different for all the stereotypical reasons you may or may not imagine, so let me scribble a drawing for you.
Yes, sir.
When I was young, I was born very light-skinned. I mean, pale, nearly white. My mother is of Native Mexican and Black American heritage, and my father, Black American, with little known of our ancestral ties within the last 2 centuries. When I'd hit the South to visit my mother, children with darker complexions ridiculed me for not being black enough or at all. But once I became a teenager, I started getting a more tannish brown pigment like both of my parents. The teasing stopped in that arena and progressed to more stuff like my interests being lame. But as the South became a bit more accepting and I migrated to the North again, I noticed my home might have been compromised also.
Oh, man.
Today, you know, in my late 20s, while I have a uniform or clothes, people look at me like I'm a piece of shit
Right away.
with just regular work clothes. You know, I'm 6'2", I'm 178 pounds, slim, but people give me looks like I'm a fucking cretin. My appearance isn't exceptional. I'm an average 5, 4.3, maybe like a 6.3 on my best day, but my demeanor never implies I'm threatening or good for nothing. So what's the problem? And it's crazy because, you know, my exes and a couple friends would be like, yo, no, I ain't gonna hold you. If I look at you, you got resting bitch face. You look like you angry all the time, you about to do some shit. And maybe that's what it is. You know, I'm not gonna outright call people those 2 titles since today those implications demand overwhelmingly small evidence to provide. But regardless, still don't think it's cool, no matter how anyone looks, to snub them as if you know everything there is to know about them. And that's why I don't have a camera when I do this, because I don't want somebody just looking at the ambiance for real. I know I said this last time, but I legitimately just, if somebody's just tuning in, I legit don't want you to just look at my face and be like, oh man, I don't like the way his nose is shaped, or I don't like his eyebrows is here.
Wow.
You know, I don't want you to look at the background and be like, ew, that shit's nasty. I wouldn't have put that there. It's like, dog, you know what I'm saying? Who gives a fuck? Like, listen to the message. This is why when I meet a stranger, if I'm encountering somebody, just a passerby or whatever, I am only thinking about how they are moving around me and what they are saying. I'm not thinking about how they're saying what they're saying.
Amazing.
Because there's different dialects. And also there's defense mechanisms. I don't know if a person is, you know, like speaking loudly or screaming, so to speak, because that's just how they grew up, or if that's just their defense mechanism, so to speak. Now that's a different conversation for another day, but perhaps not. This is on the same culturally binding type of idea, but I'm gonna try it for a different day. I don't know if a person's speaking quietly for those same reasons. I don't know if a person's speaking quickly for those same reasons, or slowly. You know, I think me being from Jersey and then going to Georgia, there was a lot of, you know, what? You know, say that again, huh? What you mean? Like, and sometimes that distracts from, I mean, if you honestly can't decipher what a person is saying, then by all means clarify it. But what I'm talking about is affixing like damnation to the individual because of how they're expressing it. It's just like, my G, who gives a fuck if they have like a drawl? Who gives a fuck if they curse every other time, but what they're saying is significant and it actually has a bit of like cleverness to it. They're sly. The point is the message, and that's really why I just destroy any visual representation of myself with all of this. So that's a side note, right? I like to believe that those are the days of old. Speaking of which, as another side note, our elderly are being discarded and disrespected out here, bruh. Now, like I said, I'm 30, but my internet age is certainly 72. So a 72-year-old out here is likely 116 to some folks. You know, I did just leave the whole racist, classist thing and think maybe that's the problem to begin with. People unearthing stories and attributing old abuse to an entire generation, so maybe they don't wish to be involved whatsoever.
Processing.
Can't learn from them, can't honor them, can't help them, can't fight for them, can't stand to be around them, and that is disheartening. Of course, I don't think that's the main or only reason. I'm just noting these elderly folks aren't getting taken care of in a way which eases their transition peacefully. I think it's funny too because they put in work to build up generations who don't want to work. Like, nobody wants to do a motherfucking thing anymore, and it's baffling. Want everything, not willing to contribute for it to be produced, or at least, you know, compensate for the thing that they absolutely have no way of creating themselves.
Oh, jeez.
Yet, we'll watch somebody work mega hard, take patience to create a small business, give these same don't want to work people discounts and handouts, then people will root for them like they're the underdog. Yo, go check out my man, he got this shoe store. Yo, go check out my girl, she got this makeup kit. At times, sending people who are the same as they are, don't want to work as, just depreciating the value almost. So how does that tie in with the elderly, and how does that tie in with the small business? Because they're an elderly person, especially if they work for Matt, bro, they're like a small business. They have years of understanding. They can generate a younger individual to do the same fucking thing. And we out here bastardizing an entire generation based off of one or maybe a few, couple hundred individuals' tactics and techniques is just ridiculous, bro. That's not how else are we gonna learn? How else are we gonna remove all this shit that we saying we don't want as part of society? I think that shit is ridiculous. And then you depreciating it by when you once you become older, all the young niggas are gonna do is see exactly what you did to the old people. And they're gonna do the same thing to you. And it's perpetuating the cycle of nonsense. And it's funny to me. It's funny and crazy. It's just The budding entrepreneurs have now established a solid clientele, expanding their inventory, their warehouse, more ads, eventually get a few collabs, some sponsors, boom, they launch a new line of products with a famous, whatever, and boom, suddenly they sold. How is that, the same with old people? Well, shit, they climbed up the ladder. Now, what if they're not a budding entrepreneur, right? They climbed up the ladder. They worked 30 years at their job. They worked 20 years at their job, more, 40, 50, whatever the case may be. And they used all that money. They invested in themselves to, get themselves like a spot on the beach, get themselves a spot near a bay, get themselves a high rise, get themselves a cool little loft, get themselves a vacation home, maybe they into collecting cars. And now they sold because or they harboring all the wealth. They got all the money. Are you fucking crazy, bro? Like, you gotta be out your mind. For real, because at that point, I mean, it's always a bougie and hung around rich folk. Like, I never took them to be so cryptic type of thing. Like, explain away bullshit and misinterpretations as well as hate, because deep down from the moment they asked, I could get a discount, right? They summed it up to, oh, they getting money. Well, shit, they don't need my money. Plus, I've been there from day one, so they'll look out for me. Besides, they might sell a little bit and fail anyway. Gonna be going right back to the shit that we used to do. It's like, bro, nah, like, that mentality, that's the shit that I'm talking about, where you preying on the downfall. And you know what? Despite it all, I wonder if any of this will still be culturally binding. Well, let's get to this haiku. Value attention. It was always currency. Trade with it wisely. Song of the day, Bankroll Fresh, Danny DeVito.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my fucking god.
Quit when real wild. Oh, you know.
ATL by light might come through a starlight. New band, she blew out the new Honda on counter. Got 50 racks on me, fucking leg. I'm a boss up on these bitches, I'm raising my standards. Oh, bad barrel sounder, do goose with that Honda. Beat you to your house and kidnap you for ransom. I want the Beamer cool, be my Pina to bring me to Nina through. Might throw a barbecue. Gucci on Gucci, 2 G's on the goggles. I came from the bottom, pushed starter the auto. Bankroll the largest, put me at the garden. That's way in New York, nigga, Brooklyn to Harlem. Harlem go try to trick out with your partner. Your bitch is a shopper, she scared of the doctor. Took through the city in the helicopter. I'm smoking this shit up a hippie or roster. I fuck your bitch, scratch her off of my roster. Off of my roster, I scratch her, no problem. Shirt Valentino, I'm bigger than Nino. All black El Camino, I'm kicking that lingo. Too many Cinos, I'm serving Gambino. I'm serving Gambino, so run through your Cino. Suck your shit in when we coming like Devo. You niggas handle like Danny DeVito.